Mr. Vazirani is a giant in the art ecosystem. I don't know what I can ask him about art, but I try. Mr. Vazirani, you heard the panel before that how appreciation matters, both appreciation and appreciation. Uh, you heard during the day that we need more institutions for art, talent, we need more platforms. The world is coming to India, the interest in the India Art Fair and the number of buyers as well as in auction houses and the delegations that have come from both the US, especially Europe, is outstanding, and it shows the rising interest in Indian art. It's becoming serious. What are your comments on that?
It's about time that Indian art becomes serious. And I think there's been a fundamental change in the mindset. It's the first time we actually appreciate our culture. India has 5,000 years of culture. India should be the strongest soft cultural power in the world. And today people are looking at art in a very different way. They understand that art is some way a historical context of society, polity, what happens around you. And I think that change in mindset, that people respect the art, has driven the market where it is. Today we have young collectors coming in, and people as young as 20, 25 years old start collecting art. They resonate with it. The aesthetic interest in it has changed completely. And then, of course, we have patrons who are becoming now, have become serious collectors and are opening museums. Kiran Nadar, for example, has led that for a long, long time. Many others have also come up. So I think the institutionalization of art has happened with museums, with institutions, with strong collectors, and at the same time, the interest is at the highest it's ever been.
Beautiful. If Mr. Vazirani says institutionalization of art has happened, and it's high time that it should have happened.
It should happen a long time ago, but yes, it's happening. We're all happy.
What has not happened? Let me ask you. What still needs to change?
I think the biggest thing that has not happened is the blessing of the government of India. A change in policy where art is encouraged. For example, what is the logic of having an import duty on art? The art is made in India, it goes overseas, and you pay a duty when it comes back. China had a tax holiday for art. It encouraged people to collect art, to preserve art. They wanted art to come back to the country. So I think a change in policy with import duty, GST, and more government encouragement for public-private partnerships to build museums, to build institutions, will go a long way.
Beautiful. You've been very specific about what needed from the government. I think all of those would help in being a positive catalyst to grow the ecosystem. We talked about art talent, and Sunil talked about democratization of art. How art is not just limited to the big Indian cities. And let me give you a simile. If you look at cricket, in the last 10 years, 15 years, the big cricketers have not necessarily come out of Delhi or Mumbai. There is a Tendulkar, there is a Virat Kohli, but they only came out of a small city, right? And I can give you many other examples. Similarly, in the Indian startup ecosystem, a lot of large unicorns have not necessarily come out from Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore. They are, small town boys or girls who made it happen. So is the true democratization of art happening both at an appreciation level and at a business level?
There are several more young entrepreneurs that are coming to the field. And what happens is, as the art ecosystem grows, the so-called functionality also changes. So today, things like storage, logistics, restoration, cataloging have all become very important. And they're all separate businesses by itself. So I think young entrepreneurs today see the opportunity, see that there is a market, there is demand. And also, like cricket, some of the best artists don't come from Bombay and Delhi. They come from small cities. Indigenous art, folk and tribal art is from the roots. So I think art is always around you. You have to just look and have the patience to look. So yes, the ecosystem is growing, entrepreneurship is growing, and I think this is the best time we've ever seen for Indian art.
Brilliant. What are your predictions for the future? If you had to do crystal ball raising, what would you say? what should we expect in the next 12 months, 15 months?
Well, hopefully your work by Rameshwar Bhuta will sell for $10 million. That's
Wow. Again, you set out a wish in the universe, and money is money, but more importantly, it is about appreciation too.
No, I mean, it's not only just the value or number. I think appreciation in some ways is always linked to value. You will not appreciate something when it's 10 rupees. You'll appreciate something when it's 1 lakh. So I think notionally that value is important. I mean, it doesn't really matter in the long term, but it does change perspectives. So I hope values of Indian art go up. I hope entrepreneurship increases, and I hope we can create an ecosystem, institutionalized ecosystem where Indian art can flourish.
Thank you. Both Ms. Pasi and Mr. V. Sunil ducked this question. They gave me very safe answers. Sunil has been my friend for 25 years. I was hoping that he'd give me a direct, honest answer. I asked them, give me 3 to 6 new artists that, you can give me 10. I am not going to be stingy. And, don't say there are a lot of artists. I don't want to take names, I mean, I'm asking for, give us more.
Well, you just selected 3. You just gave You just gave an award to 3.
Yes. No, there are more. There are more awards coming. Mrs. Nadar.
It's very difficult to pin down young artists because young artists, by definition, are just starting their careers. I think to identify young artists, you have to. I'm not ducking the question. You have to identify if you resonate with the art. There are so many young artists showing at India Art Fair and also Art Mumbai that that resonate with young collectors. But to name a few artists that I like, which I've been collecting, I mean, they're not young, but artists I'm very fond of. One of my favorite artists in the contemporary space is A. Balasubramaniam, and he does incredible work, and it's something that I really enjoy. I've collected a lot of Atul Dodia, for example, because he kind of evolves himself and keeps changing his format, which is very interesting. And of course, there are even younger artists that have been doing really, really amazing work. And it's interesting that the work that they are doing is not only painting, it's ceramic, it's textile, it's a combination of different medias. So yeah, there are tons of them. I can send you a list.
Sure. Well, thank you for at least being forthcoming with names and acknowledging them.
What did Shalini Pasi and V. Sunil tell you with which artists? You said
they didn't give me any names. There are many. And we can't take names, So this is a very safe answer or no answer. Let me now ask about the relevance. Digital art is growing. NFTs are growing, right? And there is a re-emergence of bitcoins, right? At least for the time being. There is the Trump impact, right? How do you see the art world taking on to this new world? It's existed for a while, at least for 6-7 years. But do you see this getting serious traction much more than it's seen till now?
I've said this many times before. I am not a big believer of NFTs at all. I don't think they have the substantial value that people are talking about. Digital art, on the other hand, is a combination of different mediums. It's all imagery. So I think there is a place for digital art, like there is a place for AI, which will change things quite dramatically. I don't think AI or generated art will ever replace painting or any of that. I think there are tools which will come out of it which can help the art industry. It might be with technology, it might be with blockchain, for example. Blockchain is a perfect way to
authenticate.
Document provenance. I think that is the biggest issue with Indian art today, and especially with artists that are no more, like Raza, Hussain,
the masters.
The masters. It kind of ensures that there is something where the provenance or chain of ownership of the art is documented, and that is essential for the growth of any art market. So digital art and AI will be tools that enable the growth of the market, but will not replace it.
And I fully agree with you where I believe the more the value of digital grows, the more the value of physical grows. Much more. I mean, we are doing this event face to face. We could have done it on Zoom or other technologies. There is you met your friend from the ecosystem. Similarly, AI by definition is past learned patterns and data and images. So it cannot create something new. It can create an amalgamation of whatever exists. So true art will always have value.
And also, sir, let's not forget that we have big, huge buildings called the Louvre, the Met, the Guggenheim, that need art to be displayed in. So there's no way that like traditional art will ever disappear. It won't be replaced by digital art.
Now, coming back to a point that Ms. Nadar made, she said, I was hoping after I started a museum, there'll be many more initiatives in this domain because you deal with the whole ecosystem and with the top movers and shakers in this domain. Are there conversations that industrialists, philanthropists are having in terms of setting up museums or initiatives that enhance art?
Definitely. We are thinking about it also. So I think many collectors today realize the importance of art for everyone. So there has to be museums where you can go appreciate it, look at it. There's also discussions going on right now, which we are in, for public-private partnership. Because for a museum, the most difficult thing in big cities is land.
Especially at a central location.
Yeah, and like Mumbai or Delhi, it's very difficult to get land. So unless, like I said before, unless the government doesn't participate in the process of building something, it's very difficult. But discussions are going on. Recently I was speaking to the BMC commissioner, Mr. Gagrani, and he said something very interesting which surprised me. He said, look, Dinesh, we built all the highways for you, we built the coastal road, the infrastructure. What I want you to help me do is make Mumbai and bring the soft cultural power. You know, it's the first time the government is actually looking at it and thinking of it seriously. So I think there's going to be lots more museums. There's MAP in Bangalore. There's something coming up in Coimbatore. I know some people are thinking of a museum in Chennai. There are a couple in Mumbai who are thinking of a museum. So I think in the next 5 years, you'll see at least 10, 15 museums come on around India.
Beautiful. That's very welcome because at the end of the day, that will create a culture of art appreciation beyond the private ownership of art, right? And that's the biggest thing an artist looks for. And I said this in the morning that if there's empirical research, data from various parts of the world that cities that have the soft power in art, and I'm specifically talking of art, the real estate values are enhanced.
Yeah, for example, Shanghai has 120 private museums. This is one city in the world, and we are struggling with one. So I think that's fundamentally going to change.
Yes, I think we are turning a corner. I think as this museum comes, and you're talking of 5-7 that you know, right, which are in the works, I think the right time has come, and it's about time, as you said. My last question to you. Your organization has been a pioneer. You have been a pioneer when you think of top people in art who have contributed to the growth of this ecosystem. Your name comes about. What are you doing in the next 12 to 18 months to be able to grow this ecosystem beyond what you mentioned just now?
So there are several aspects. I think with Saffronart itself, we really want to now build that cultural bridge between India and the world. I think we've been focused on Indian art, and we will look at art from other parts of the world, including Asia. The second is, for Saffronart, we want to enhance technology. Today, technology is so important in the world, and there's so many different ways you can complement what you're doing with technology. Thirdly, I hope in the next 12 to 18 months, we will announce the museum. So that's one initiative.
And what location, Mumbai?
It has to be only Mumbai. That's where I'm from.
Though the AQI in Mumbai is now competing with the AQI in Delhi, so...
I know, it's getting pretty close.
Yes, I think you're catching up.
But because the definition of a museum doesn't always have to be large. You know, for example, the Kiranada Museum that's coming up is 1.2 million square feet. So one of the largest museums in India. I mean, there are museums in Paris, in Dubai, etc., which are just maybe 10,000 square feet. But they're beautiful museums that are focused of showing a particular genre of art or direction of art. So yeah, I hope we make Art Mumbai bigger. I hope Saffronart goes global, and I hope we get a museum.
How many art, there are a lot of artists that have got the Padma Awards, But art catalysts haven't, that many art catalysts haven't got Padma Award. I'm just using one way of recognition and the importance in the society. So I hope next year when we have the Padma Awards, someone like you is also
Thank
awarded.
you.
Why
Thank
not?
you. That's
Why
quite
not?
flattering. Thank you.
No, honestly, I mean, one way to look at, look at the number of doctors over the years that got Padma, because they're treating the politicians, right? The Prime Minister or his staff, right? So you have to get politicians to buy art. Maybe you'll have to gift them.
That's probably more
Yeah,
likely.
maybe we'll drop this idea for a while, right? We have Mr. Vazirani here. Any questions for him? The lady there, can you quickly get a mic?
Oh, that'll be a dangerous question from where it's coming.
Guys, wake up. We need a mic there, yeah? Prashant and Malik. Take.
Thank you so much. I just want to ask this question simply because I want Business World to really take it up while they talk about this conclave or this business of art conversation. Dinesh, you mentioned that in Shanghai there are 120 institutions. Now, I know that these institutions have come up because there's a tax rebate on every time a corporate house invests in art or puts their money into art, that amount of money is tax-free. And this is something that we lack here. And I'm 100% sure, coming from a Marwadi background, that if you get a tax benefit, you will use it. We are trained to find ways to not pay tax. So art, I would feel that, Dinesh, because you are now speaking with the government on PPP projects, and I would really, really urge this point that let's look at a tax rebate for art.
No, I completely agree with you. It's not. That's what happened in China. They had tax incentives.
Absolutely.
In the US, if you donate a painting to a museum, you get a tax benefit.
Just imagine.
So there has to be incentives for people to actually invest in art. So I think it will come, but the first step that we have to do as an industry is form an association,
Absolutely.
a collective, so we have a collective voice with the government.
I agree with you. We don't have an industry.
Yes, I did say it.
I know, but it's a fact. But I think like I said, every drop in the ocean adds to it. And yes, I think Business World, please bring this up to the public and to the media, and maybe we can take it up. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we have a role, and we've just got started. Thanks to Jyotsna and her efforts and her team. I'm sure we'll do our bit of taking the message to where it needs to go. But the association has to be formed by the players in every part of the ecosystem involved. There is a crab story. It's true about Indian media owners. You heard the crab story, right? I don't have to tell you. I'm sure it's true of possibly the art domain. I don't know the art domain. But it's possibly true. Yes, coming together is strength, and the government does listen to association.
If you can please promote it for us, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, happily. We'll be happy to do that. I also want to acknowledge the presence of Mr. David Abraham and Mr. Rakesh Thakur, who really don't need an introduction. They were our jury members also. There is an installation outside. Their work is displayed. They really don't need an introduction. You can also acknowledge them and their presence by a round of applause. Thank you. If there are no more questions, we'll just close it and move to the next. Mr. Goel and Mrs. Goel are also here. They're art collectors and rich people. You should catch hold of them, Mr. Vazirani, if you don't know them. I'd be happy to introduce you and take a cut, right? But they're here for their daughter, Carol. Any other questions? There are no questions, so please give Mr. Vazirani a big round of applause. And he made all the right points about getting the right government support in terms of import duty being waived off, public-private partnership in terms of space, tax rebate in terms of gifting art. But he also gave us the positive news that he hopes and he knows that there will be at least 10 more museums in the next 5 years, maybe 20. And the art, Indian art is going places.
Yeah, but just to give you one example, a friend of mine who lives in Bombay, right outside Bombay is a place called Alibag.
Yeah.
He's built a small museum there, and I think not small, I mean it's reasonably large, but it is one of, people don't even know about it. It's one of the nicest museums of antiquities that I've seen in India.
Wow.
So it's already happened. These things are happening.
Is Rahul Gandhi in the museum?
I don't know about that.
Okay. This is for fun. I can do it across the political spectrum. I'm neutral in that sense. But who's this friend if it's not?
His name is Jay Hiramat. He's a collector from Bombay, and it's really an exceptional museum. So you should see it if you get a chance.
Brilliant. I think we are wiser knowing one more museum exists. And maybe next time I'm in Bombay, Mr. Goel, we can go together, right in your chopper or your plane, whichever lands there. But give Mr. Vazirani a big round of applause.